Welcome to this special leadership edition of Total Picture, the final episode of our three-part series on how to work with HR tech influencers, analysts, and advisors. I'm your host, Peter Clayton. Joining me is Sarah Brennan and William Tincup with a master class on the strategies, selection, and approach to working with PR and advertising agencies specializing in HR and TA tech. If you've paid attention and listened to the entire series, congratulations. You've just received a $3,000 workshop for free. In part one of this series, Brad Sutton, who organized a collaboration zone roundtable in Toronto at the HR Tech Summit, had this to say.
My background's working with entrepreneurs and CEOs and heads of marketing. I realized that not everybody really understands how to create awareness in the space. And having sold to the HR buyer before in the past, I knew there was a certain amount of credibility you needed to have coming in the door, of course, and that's obviously who you worked with and what have you done for them. But then also there's that element of, having a name that's recognizable, right? I think the worst thing that can happen is you're sitting in front of a buyer and you're amongst a pool of competitors and no one's heard of you before. Right or wrong, that has, I think, a lot of weight when it comes to HR and HR buyers, because this is I shouldn't say a community of totally risk averse. There are people who are challenging the norm out there, but this is a risk averse community.
Brad is Global Alliances Leader at GSV Accelerate. A hat tip and shout out to my amigos on the HR Tech Collaboration News Podcast, Ward Crispin and Larry Cummings, for organizing the collaboration zone at the HR Tech Summit. And now, here's part 3 of our series of Working with Influencers with Sarah and William. Enjoy. Let's talk a little bit about how you go about hiring a PR agency or an advertising agency once you've got enough money to make that kind of a decision.
I think you need to go in with a clear understanding of what your expectations are and there's a number of agencies. There's some agencies that do both okay. There's some agencies that do both really well. There's some agencies that only do one really great. There's some agencies that do one really bad, right? Like there's a mix of agencies out there. And I think it's important that you find an agency, whether it's PR, marketing, advertising, whatever you're looking at, that actually understands the HR technology space and understands what this area looks like, because it is different than fintech or ed tech or, just straight up B2B. Definitely different than B2C, right? There is a different type of buying approach that you want to take in this market. And so I think there's that. I would also make sure that you reach out to the more expensive options as well as the less expensive options and really, again, get a feel for who you, think is going to be a right fit for your culture. Each one of these companies has its own voice, its own different approach, and can do something unique for you. So finding somebody that isn't just because, everybody said to go use this. As an advisor, I would never give you just one name, right? So if somebody only gives you one name, always be skeptical. Take 3 names, take 4 names, talk to everybody, get pricing from everybody, and really get a good feel and narrow it down from there with how it fits with the rest of your broader strategy. And you have to have your bigger picture strategy in place before you start spending money on any of these areas. And I see way too many startups doing this the opposite. They start spending money on marketing, spending money on advertising when they don't even have a very clear product strategy and product roadmap. They don't have a clear partnership strategy. They don't even have a clear exit strategy on what their goal is. They just think, we got to start spending money. William?
Sure. So, great question, Peter, as always. I think the thing is that Sarah's nailed a bunch of these points. So let's kind of go through them pretty quickly. It's like anything else, it's match. You're trying to get fitability. You're trying to get someone that fits you and that solves a pain that you want solved. So let's say again, I'm going to use algebra as a metaphor, but let's say that your CEO wants to be in TechCrunch pretty much on a weekly basis. Okay, well then, if that's the goal, then there's a way to solve that. You know, there's Silicon Valley PR firms and individual PR people that can get you in TechCrunch every week, if that's the goal. Similarly, if you want to be speaking at HR tech trade shows, there are groups of people, PR firms, marketing firms that are great at helping you submit great abstracts and great ideas on time and in the proper way, so that you have a chance of being selected to speak. So it's, what are you solving for? Who solves that the best? Every one of these agencies has kind of a superpower, as Sarah alluded to, and no one does it all. So that's to Sarah's credit again. If anyone tells you they do it all, automatically distrust them, because
They don't do it all well.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That is exactly correct. They don't do it all well. So the thing is it's really looking and finding that match of what do you need done. And marketing, there's, you know, the poles of lead gen versus branding are the North Pole to the South Pole. So are you interested more in branding and people getting to know who you are? Or are you interested in creating a machine where MQLs pop out of the machine and go to your sales team, and then your BDRs then call them and you schedule demos? There's nothing wrong with either strategy. And a lot of people would tell you that they really want to do both, but most people don't have enough money to do both well. So you almost kind of have to pick, like, which one's more important to us at this particular juncture. And that's not an easy decision to face or answer. But sometimes you go with an agency because they have the industry chops. They might not have the marketing, PR, advertising chops, but they have the industry chops, meaning they know the industry like the back of their hand. And they might not be able to pull off an outdoor advertising campaign, but they know the industry like the back of their hand. And sometimes you make the decision, well, you know what, we know the industry. In fact, I had a client tell me this last week. You know, they know the industry. They know the industry well enough that they don't need someone to tell them the industry. What they need is someone with marketing chops that can do B2B marketing better than anybody in the world. It's like, okay, so you at that point, you need a technician. You don't need them to know HR Tech versus Unleash, or SHRM versus IRM, or who is Bill Kudik, or this or that or the other. That you don't need them to know any of that stuff. You just need them to connect HubSpot with your website, with your content, and create a lead gen, you know, machine, a Tesla out of your lead gen. You know, if that's the case, then actually, if you know that, working with an industry shop might not actually be the best spend of money. So you really have to solve that for, like, what do we need the most of? Are we solving for a pricing challenge? Are we solving for a branding challenge? Do we want to have our CEO on the cover of SHRM's magazine? Like, what are we solving for? And once you know that, then I think you can narrow down. And to Sarah's other few bits of advice, you reach out to multiple people. You know, once you kind of figured out, okay, this is what we're solving for. I don't think it's as heavy-handed as an RFP as much as
no.
Right? I think it's more of a, hey,
It's a conversation.
Yeah. We're trying to solve this. This is our biggest pain. 2018, Q3, Q4, and Q1 and Q2 of 19. Here's what we're trying to solve for.
Yeah.
We need to pass over to sales 10,000 MQLs a month. That's what we need to do. Now, then putting that in front of, 5 different agencies and say, listen, this is what we have to do. We've already signed on to this with sales team. So our backs are against the wall. We're already lit to the number. Now, what are the different ways that we could do that? And what budget would you need in order to get us the MQLs? And what do you need structurally to put in place to help us get the MQLs? Because the MQLs is the goal. We have to pass over 10,000 a month, period, end of story. We get fired or we get bonused based on whether or not we hit that goal. Then you put that dilemma, problem, solution, whatever, you put that in front of those 6 different agencies and you say, how would you solve this? And you let them go about their business and say, okay, here's how we would get you those 10,000 MQLs. And they've got a way that they do it. Each one of them would do it differently. Trust that. Each one of them, and we all know some of these agencies. The 3 of us know that these people well enough to name names, but they go about the business differently. I'll give you a quick anecdotal story that actually is kind of appropriate for this. I Love Rewards reached out. Oh, good gosh, this might have been 2008. Sounds like I'm getting older. But anyhow, so they reached out. Rob, who was running marketing for them, reached out, and he said, "Listen, we're running a contest. I've got $30,000. I want you to work for 1 month, and I want you to drive as many leads as you can. And I'm hiring 2 other agencies to do the exact same thing. So essentially, I'm spending $90,000 to figure out who can drive the most leads. We don't care how you do it. We don't care what you do." And I bought my most expensive plane ticket until that time. And so we talked on I think a Thursday, and I bought a $6,000 plane ticket to fly me from Dallas to Toronto, me and one of the guys that I worked with. We flew up there. We were there on Monday morning when they got their work. And we went through a plan, and they wrote us a check. And we won the account based on the 30 days. At the end of 30 days, they looked across at all the firms that had done the work, and we had won the account. And so that's an interesting, again, I don't know if you need to do that, but it was an interesting approach. It was an interesting way to basically make it a fair and inclusive contest. Like, hey, listen, if this is what we're solving for is leads, and you could say you can provide leads, well, here, we're going to give you money. Go do what you say you can, and now, now you're going to be measured, at the end of the day against the other people that said that they could do the same thing. And I found that, first of all, I found it very unique at the time. That's Razor and Rob and all those folks that then became achievers after I Love Rewards. I found that to be a very kind of a reward meritocracy, kind of rewarding contest. Because if we didn't win, we put our best foot forward. If we didn't win, well, then it wasn't because of the lack of trying. It's because someone else could do it better. And if someone could do it better, then okay, then they should win. That's fair. So
yeah, I think that's a really ballsy, smart move.
It was.
It
was.
Yeah.
I'm going to just add into, as you go out to look at a marketing firm, advertising agency, PR agency, make sure your house is clean first, right? And so what I see happen a lot to these agencies is you're coming into an agency, you don't have your positioning together, your product is not solid. And so 2 things happen. They either struggle to get the right leads in because the company is convinced they should be marketing or positioned as X when they really should be Y. And the second thing that happens is the leads that do come in don't buy, aren't really quote unquote qualified, and then they get upset at the agency for that, when it really is potentially either your team doesn't know how to sell or your product is a mess. And so I see that side, and that's where, like for me as an advisor, one of the things I look at is that holistic, working and talking to an advisor or a consultant or a partner, whatever you want to call it at that stage, to make sure before you go invest a lot of money in any of these agencies, make sure there's no other barriers that are going to impact your sales. Because you could spend $1 million on marketing and still not sell a product if there's all of these other things in the way. So make sure that, everything is it doesn't mean it has to be perfect. It just can't be what is blocking your success.
Right.
And then blame it on these other agencies.
That's really good advice.
Thank you.
Which goes along with what you told me up in Toronto, Sarah, and that is a lot of companies who come to you for advisory services, you look at their product, you go under the hood and you go, you're marketing the wrong piece of this software.
Yeah.
This other piece is what the market needs. That's what they'll pay for.
Yeah. It's a lot
Right?
of people, especially early stage startup or even existing, even enterprise vendors, right? They have a product and they've developed something, but they're so close to the product that they don't see what else is going on in the marketplace, what is coming up in the marketplace. And sometimes they don't even see what they have right in front of them,
Sure.
really close. And so they're going to market, saying it's, ATS. And I'm like, you have a full CRM. You have full recruitment marketing. This is not just an ATS. Why do you not even mention that? Oh, well, I don't think buyers really care about that. Well, when did you do your last buyer study? Oh, in 2013. Well, yeah, markets changed, right? And so, and it's not because they're not making the right decisions. It's just because they get so insulated and you get so focused on what is happening around you that it's sometimes hard to see. I mean, I have at least 5 or 6 companies that we could point to that when we originally started working with them, they thought they were product X, and I get the calls when people are not selling, right? William gets the calls when it's like, we have a great idea, we should look at it. I get the call when it's like, oh, shoot, well, we got an investment team and now they're all upset because nobody's buying the product and we're not growing like they thought, and, blah, 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 blah. And so I'm the fixer of the broken. And so, we look at this and it's like, oh, wait, this is, you're marketing it and you're approaching this just all wrong. Let's just make a tiny tweak. Let's make this little change to the product. And in 4 months, 6 months, a couple of sprint cycles, you will have exactly what you didn't even know you had right there. And, completely put you into a different market, different position. But yeah, I mean, it's so many of these vendors, and William, I'm sure you've seen the same thing. So many of these vendors position themselves, either they over position themselves because they don't know the market well enough that they think they want to create their own category, which is a huge mistake, or they position themselves into what they think they should be instead of what they actually are. And if you're relying on your marketing agency or your PR firm to help you with that, odds are it's not going to happen because they're going to do what you've already told them. They're a lot of times assuming that work has already been done.
That's right. That's right. Or, they're going to take your words and they're going to say, okay, let's go to market because it seems like you're really set in your ways and your words. And so we're going to go to market like that. And then it fails. And then as Sarah's already alluded, the agencies get blamed. Now,
yeah,
don't feel too sorry for the agencies. They get paid to get blamed. And I hate to say it that bluntly, but truth is they make money essentially becoming the scapegoat for why something didn't succeed. So,
but if you're on your second or third or fourth agency, that's not an agency issue.
That's a you issue. Yes, that's exactly right. That's a lesson of marriage and divorce. If you're on your 5th divorce, chances are it's your problem, your fault. Maybe you should mirror, but I think the one thing we didn't talk about with agencies that I think is important is chemistry. I think Sarah might have touched on it just a little bit, but it's the best way to have a great relationship with an agency is to go visit them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a lot of these are virtual relationships. Like Marin's Red Branch is in Omaha. Brett, his business is in San Francisco and Fort Worth. Gene's business is in New Jersey. Let's just stop there because we could just keep listing a bunch of agencies. But the point is you when you sign a you go through your vetting process, you put a problem in front of them, they have a realistic idea of how to solve the problem. Okay, everything looks good. And the first thing you do is when you kick off is you fly in. Yeah, you break bread, you have a couple drinks, you talk about success, you look people in the eye, and you talk about, okay, what happens when things get a little squirrely? Let's say y'all don't show up for a call one day, or you tell us that that you're going to meet at a deadline you don't. Like, let's talk about that. Let's just let's talk about it now, and realize that it's inevitable that some of these things are going to happen. We're going to fail you as a vendor. You're going to fail us as a provider. That's just going to happen. So that's a truism. We're going to fail each other. How do we react? What is the character of that's the characters involved, and how do they put things back together when things go badly? And I think that you can't do that over the phone. And I think that's where I got a lot of people, they think they can have frank discussions over the phone, but really anybody can be frank in front of a monitor. It's very difficult to be frank when you're 2 feet away from someone. So I think that sometimes the best discussions are those frank, honest moments where you start the relationship, and then when things get really twisted up, instead of giving up on the agency, which happens all too often, people, they go through a hardship, they go through an error or mistake, or something, a link on the website isn't, God forbid, linked to something correctly. Like it's these things are all important, and agencies get fired. And I think that practice of giving up on the agencies is well, dumb on one level, but if you spend $300 and fly there and sit down with them and go, I am disappointed, but I can get past disappointment. Now let's figure out how to fix it. Like, okay, the link wasn't there. Okay, got it. We've stated, we've covered it, it's there. But what do we do? How do we not make this mistake twice? I think vendors need to, once they invest, I think
Get a little grace.
that's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Unless they do it again, right?
Yeah,
Like I just went through this week. There was a agency that I'm aware of that got fired off of something because they were not talking of the companies in their type of brand voice. They were going definitely out of turn as they were sending out emails and stuff. And it had been something that the company had already brought to their attention was not okay. And it happened again. As soon as they realized it had happened again, the trust was gone, right? You get grace, but you don't take advantage. And so it's not that you don't ever fire agency. Like a missing link is a little bit different than them sending out vulgar emails to analysts.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And so, it's giving people a chance, having those conversations up front, but also if it's not working, don't be afraid to go to the next one.
I totally agree. I mean, it's interesting though, Peter, because you've been in these types of relationship type businesses, all your life. So you kind of get the, you're performing, and somehow you just get fired for no reason, or you go through some hardship and you don't perform as best you can, and the company's really graceful. I think Sarah is spot on. You give people the grace that they deserve. And if they keep doing things the same way, like they didn't hear you, or they heard you and did it anyhow, like the total disrespect. Oh yeah, you can't stay with that. I mean, if someone's going to disrespect you in that way, you can't stay with them. And then that's just almost common sense. But I think being graceful, I think flying in and doing more in-person stuff when things go well to start, and also when things kind of get a little twisted, as they will get. I think those are the moments where you can then go, okay, let's talk a little bit about what happened and let's fix it. And I think that doesn't happen enough in our industry, Peter.
I agree, and I totally agree with you that unfortunately a lot of these companies don't do the due diligence of just jumping on an airplane and going to New Jersey or wherever and meeting in person, face to face, or Omaha and sitting down with Marin.
Yep. Because
it's a whole different thing. Yes, I mean, terrific track record, terrific references, terrific everything, but you have to have that thing going with that company because it's really important. And you're going to be spending a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of resources, and you want to make it work.
That's right.
And you have to have trust.
Yeah.
Right? This type of relationship, whether it's advisory, influencer, ad agency, marketing firm, if you don't feel a level of trust up front or you have a level of uneasiness, everything that they do is going to be second guessed, is going to be questioned on both sides. And so sometimes that face-to-face is how you can feel, like that gut feeling on if you kind of trust and have the instincts on that person or their team.
Yeah,
totally agree.
Absolutely. Marketing directors, CMOs, are usually the ones with the shortest lifespan within organizations. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're brought into a problem, but really not given the opportunity or the resources to fix the problem.
And worse than that, Peter, is they don't set the expectations correctly. So you're brought into Beirut 85, and if your CEO expects electricity and roads, then you've got to actually realign those expectations. There will be no electricity. There will be no roads because they're all bombed out. So it's you could be brought into a situation. It's in tenuous situation. But if you don't do, as a marketer, if you don't do the job of then communicating outward, upward, etc., hey, here's what's going on. Here's what it's going to take to fix it. Either we invest in what it takes to fix it, or we realign what's the expectation. And marketers, just like HR, in a lot of ways, don't do a great enough job of then saying and restating, hey, here's what's actually going on. We have a foundational problem. You want to put leads, you want to create a leads machine. Our website's not even connected to our marketing automation tool. Our marketing automation tool is not even connected to our Salesforce automation tool. We don't have any content on our website. So none of the plumbing and electricity and the foundational stuff is even built. A. B, we haven't purchased the software, implemented the software, and we don't have any content. So like, you want a machine. I get that you want a machine. However, you've got none of the fundamental pieces. It's almost like somebody saying, I want a Super Bowl. I want a Super Bowl ring. It's like, of course you do. But you have no offensive line, no quarterback, no running back, no wide receivers, and nobody on defense. So you've almost got to, as a marketer, understand and evaluate the current situation. In fact, it's one of the pieces of advice I give marketers when they take new jobs is to spend a day in the job. Like, do a day in the life. Like, before you accept the offer letter, go behind the veil and see what's really there, and talk to every single person and go, okay, what would you fix? What's broken? Don't tell me anything good. In fact, don't tell me anything positive. All I want to do is I want to hear all the negative, everything that's broken. And before you accept the job, double the marketing budget, or don't take the job. So the first thing is you go in, you find out, is this Beirut 85? Is that what I'm dealing with here? Is this Afghanistan 2003? Is that what I'm dealing with here? You got the Taliban. You want me to go in here and fix all this shit? So that's the first thing, is you got to find out what's wrong. Second thing is you're going to need, it's the old project management mantra of you're going to double the time, double the cost, the price, and lower the expectations. So my advice to marketers always is go behind the veil, see what's really broken, because they're going to tell you that things aren't broken because they want you to take the job.
It's always broken.
It's always broken. It's always broken.
It's always broken.
Always. And
keeps me busy. It's okay.
And it's broken in different ways. But
That's why the job is open
somewhere.
Yeah.
But the interesting part of it being broken is that that's Sarah loves puzzles. I love puzzles. Like fixing something that's broken. Okay, that's just a puzzle. It's, do you have the money?
Yep.
And do you understand the expectations that you can then fix that problem? And
do you have?
No, you're fine.
I was going to say, on top of, do you have the money? Do you have the humility to accept that maybe how you did things might need to be changed? And I think that is, especially for startups, for entrepreneurs, for founders, coming in and needing to change things isn't saying you did them wrong to start with. It's just saying how to get to the next level might not be how you got here. And I think a lot of times that's a struggle that CMOs or founding teams have, because they then feel like, well, if I'm having to change what we were doing, then maybe I was wrong, when it's not that at all.
Well, on that note, I want to thank Sarah and William for this really marvelous conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, you just received a $3,000 marketing seminar for free on how to deal with influencers and analysts and advisors if you are a tech startup. If you're a startup in any organization, I think this advice is pretty universal. So again, thank you so much. And let's do this again. This was great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love to.
Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, absolutely.
It was fun.
Yeah, this was fun, Peter. Thank you.
That's our show. I'm on a podcast roll, so be sure to tune in to Total Picture tomorrow for our exclusive interview with my friend and neighbor, Bill Kutik, the host of Firing Line with Bill Kutik. Comments are welcome on this show page in the leadership channel of TotalPicture.com. While there, please sign up for our free newsletter. You can subscribe to Total Picture on iTunes, Google's new podcast app, TuneIn, Overcast, Stitcher, or your favorite podcatching service. And join the conversation on our Total Picture Radio Facebook group. You'll find me on Twitter at Peter Clayton. Connect with Sarah at I'm So Sarah, and William at William Tincup. And if you haven't had an opportunity yet to check out the first two parts of this three-part series, I highly recommend that you do so. I think you will find the information and content to be really valuable. Total Picture is your podcast resource for the future of work. See you next time. Thanks for tuning in.